Have you ever struggled to recall information during an exam or presentation? Do you want to enhance your learning and memory capabilities? Look no further. The field of psychology has numerous strategies and techniques that can help boost your memory and learning abilities. In this video, we will delve into the power of psychology to improve memory and learning. From understanding the process of memory formation to utilizing techniques such as chunking, visualization, and metacognition, you will gain valuable insights on how to effectively enhance your learning outcomes. By implementing these techniques, you can expect to see a noticeable improvement in your memory recall and overall learning ability. So, get ready to take your learning to the next level and let's explore the power of psychology in improving memory and learning. Before we continue, if you find this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more video like this one. Now let's begin with the first step, which is encoding. Encoding is the first step to improving memory and learning. It is the process of taking in new information and transforming it into a form that can be stored in our memory. The quality of encoding directly impacts the ease of recall later on. Encoding is the first step in the memory process and a critical part of learning. The process of encoding involves paying attention to new information and actively processing it, so it can be remembered later. This includes creating associations between the new information and existing knowledge, as well as elaborating and adding sensory detail to make the information more meaningful. Here are some tips for effective encoding. Pay attention. When studying or learning new information, it's crucial to focus your attention and actively engage with the material. Distractions such as phones, televisions, or other distractions can negatively impact encoding and subsequent recall. Use associations. When learning new information, try to relate it to something you already know. This could be a personal experience, a previously learned concept, or even a visual image. Add sensory detail. Encoding is more effective when new information is linked with sensory detail, such as visual images, sounds, or even smells. Make the information meaningful. Try to relate new information to your personal interests, values, or goals. This helps to add a deeper level of meaning to the information, making it easier to encode and remember. For example, let's say you want to learn the capital cities of Europe. Instead of just memorizing the list, try to associate each city with a sensory image or personal experience. For example, imagine the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the canals in Amsterdam, or the Palace of Versailles. This will help to make the information more meaningful and memorable. Number 2 is repetition. Repetition is the key to strengthening memory traces. It is a well-known strategy for improving memory and learning. The idea behind repetition is that the more often you encounter information, the stronger the memory trace becomes, leading to better recall later on. When repeating information, it's important to space out the practice sessions. This is because the spacing effect states that spreading out study sessions over time leads to better long-term retention than cramming all the information into one session. Additionally, repetition should involve active recall, such as testing yourself on the material, instead of just passively rereading it. Here are some tips for effective repetition. Space out practice sessions. Instead of cramming, break up study sessions and spread them out over time. This helps to consolidate and strengthen memories. Test yourself. Regular testing, such as self-quizzes or flashcards, helps to recall information and improve long-term retention. Use different techniques. Try using different techniques for repetition, such as summarizing the information, teaching it to someone else, or creating mnemonics. This helps to activate different parts of the brain and strengthen the memory trace. Vary the format of the information, such as repeating it in different order or using different words, to help reinforce the memory. Make it a habit. Incorporating repetition into your daily study routine can help make it a habit, leading to better recall over time. For example, if you're trying to learn a new language, repeat the vocabulary words daily, either through self-testing or speaking with a partner. This repetition, along with the active recall, will help to solidify the words in your memory, leading to better recall later on. Number 3 is elaboration. Elaboration is the process of adding personal meaning and connections to new information, making it easier to remember. By elaborating on information, you're creating a rich network of connections that support recall and make it easier to retrieve the information later. Elaboration can take many forms, such as creating visual images, relating new information to personal experiences, or linking it to other related concepts. The key is to make the information more meaningful and memorable. Here are some tips for effective elaboration. Create visual images. By creating mental images of new information, you can make the information more memorable and easier to recall. Relate to personal experiences. Try to relate new information to your own life experiences or interests. This helps to make the information more meaningful and memorable. Link to related concepts. When learning new information, try to link it to other related concepts or pieces of information. This helps to build a network of connections that support recall. Add sensory detail. By adding sensory detail, such as sights, sounds, or smells, you can make the information more meaningful and memorable. For example, if you're trying to learn the elements of the periodic table, try to associate each element with a visual image, such as the shape of the atomic symbol, or relate it to a personal experience, such as the role of hydrogen in water. This elaboration helps to make the information more meaningful and memorable, leading to better recall later on. Number 4 is emotion. It is tying information to emotional responses. Emotional responses can have a significant impact on memory, as emotional events tend to be remembered more vividly and for longer periods of time. This is because the emotional system interacts with the memory system, strengthening memory traces and enhancing recall. The idea is to associate new information with an emotional response, either positive or negative, in order to enhance recall. For example, finding humor in a topic or feeling passionate about a subject can help to create a stronger memory trace. Here are some tips for tying information to emotional responses. Find humor. Adding humor to a topic can help to create a positive emotional response and improve recall. Get passionate. When you're passionate about a subject, you're more likely to remember the information and recall it later. Use storytelling. Telling a story that ties in with the information can create an emotional response and enhance recall. Use visualization. Visualizing the information in a vivid and emotionally charged way can help to create a stronger memory trace. For example, if you're trying to learn a historical event, try to associate it with a personal experience. Find the humor in the situation, or create a story that ties in with the event. This emotional connection helps to create a stronger memory trace and improve recall later on. Number 5 is chunking. Chunking is a memory strategy that involves grouping information into smaller, manageable units. This makes it easier to process and remember large amounts of information. By breaking down information into smaller chunks, you can reduce the amount of information that needs to be remembered at once, making it more manageable. Here are some tips for effective chunking. Group information into meaningful units. Break down information into smaller meaningful units that are easy to understand and remember. Repeat information regularly. Repeat the chunks of information regularly to help solidify the memory. Connect new information to existing knowledge. Link new information to existing knowledge to make it easier to process and remember. Use mnemonic devices such as acronyms, rhymes, or images to help group information into manageable units. For example, if you're trying to learn a list of 20 vocabulary words, try to group the words into smaller units of 5 to 7 words, repeat the words regularly, and connect them to existing knowledge. Use a mnemonic device, such as an acronym, to help remember the words in each chunk. This chunking strategy makes the information easier to process and remember, leading to better recall later on. Number 6 is visualization. Visualization is a memory strategy that involves creating mental images of information in order to improve recall. This technique takes advantage of the brain's ability to process and remember visual information more effectively than text-based information. By creating a mental image of the information, you can strengthen the memory trace and improve recall later on. Here are some tips for effective visualization. Create a mental image. Try to create a mental image of the information that you want to remember. The more vivid and imaginative the image, the better. Use color and movement. Add color and movement to your mental image to make it more vivid and memorable. Associate information with existing knowledge. Link the information to existing knowledge to make it easier to process and remember. Use visualization to connect information. Use visualization to connect information and create associations that help to reinforce the memory. For example, if you're trying to remember a list of 20 vocabulary words, try to create a mental image of each word, using color and movement to make the image more vivid and memorable. Associate each word with existing knowledge, and use visualization to connect the words and reinforce the memory. This visualization strategy takes advantage of the brain's ability to process and remember visual information, leading to better recall later on. Number 7 is context. Context is a memory strategy that involves encoding information in a relevant context in order to improve recall. This technique takes advantage of the brain's ability to process and remember information more effectively when it is encoded in a meaningful context. By encoding information in a relevant context, you can strengthen the memory trace and improve recall later on. Here are some tips for effective use of context. Encoding information in a relevant context. Try to encode information in a relevant context, such as linking it to a personal experience or a relevant event. Using elaborative encoding, which involves elaborating on the information and linking it to existing knowledge, to help strengthen the memory. Using sensory information such as smell, sound, and touch to help create a more vivid and memorable context. Encoding information in a story. Encoding information in a story, such as a narrative or a scenario, can help create a meaningful and memorable context. For example, if you're trying to remember a list of 20 vocabulary words, try to encode the words in a relevant context, such as linking them to a personal experience or a relevant event. Use elaborative encoding, sensory information, and storytelling to help create a meaningful and memorable context for the information. This context strategy takes advantage of the brain's ability to process and remember information more effectively when it is encoded in a meaningful context, leading to better recall later on. Number 8 is sleep. Sleep is a crucial factor in memory consolidation, which is the process by which the brain strengthens the memory trace of information. Research has shown that getting enough sleep after learning new information can improve memory consolidation and lead to better recall later on. Here are some tips for optimizing sleep to improve memory. Get enough sleep. Aim to get enough sleep each night, ideally 7 to 9 hours, to help the brain consolidate new information. Create a sleep-conducive environment by keeping the room dark, quiet, and cool, and avoiding screens before bed. Establish a sleep routine by going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, to help regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed as they can interfere with the quality of sleep. For example, if you're studying for an exam, aim to get enough sleep each night, create a sleep-conducive environment, establish a sleep routine, and avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed. This sleep strategy takes advantage of the brain's ability to consolidate new information during sleep, leading to better recall later on. Number 9 is testing. Testing is a memory strategy that involves actively recalling information, rather than passively rereading it, to strengthen the memory trace and enhance learning. Research has shown that testing can be more effective than simply rereading the information, as it requires the brain to actively retrieve the information from memory, which strengthens the memory trace. Here are some tips for effective use of testing. Self-testing. Try self-testing by recalling information from memory, rather than rereading it, to strengthen the memory trace. Interleaved practice. Use interleaved practice, which involves alternating between different subjects or topics, to challenge the brain and enhance learning. Retrieval practice. Use retrieval practice, which involves actively recalling information from memory, rather than passively rereading it, to strengthen the memory trace. Feedback-based testing. Use feedback-based testing, which provides immediate feedback on recall accuracy, to help guide learning and improve memory. For example, if you're studying for an exam, try self-testing by recalling information from memory, use interleaved practice to challenge the brain, use retrieval practice to strengthen the memory trace, and use feedback-based testing to improve recall accuracy. This testing strategy takes advantage of the brain's ability to strengthen the memory trace through active recall, leading to better learning and recall outcomes. Number 10 is distributed practice. Distributed practice, also known as spacing out study sessions, involves spacing out study sessions over time, rather than cramming all the information into a single session. Research has shown that distributed practice is more effective than massed practice in enhancing learning and long-term retention. Here are some tips for effective use of distributed practice. Schedule study sessions. Schedule study sessions over time, rather than cramming all the information into a single session, to take advantage of the benefits of distributed practice. Space out review sessions. Space out review sessions to help maintain information in long-term memory. Practice regularly. Practice regularly to help maintain information in long-term memory. Mix it up by alternating between subjects or topics to challenge the brain and enhance learning. For example, if you're studying for an exam, schedule study sessions over time, space out review sessions, practice regularly, and mix it up by alternating between subjects or topics. This distributed practice strategy takes advantage of the brain's ability to better retain information through spaced repetition, leading to better learning and recall outcomes. Number 11 is metacognition. Metacognition refers to the process of thinking about one's own thinking and learning. This includes monitoring one's own understanding, planning strategies, and reflecting on the effectiveness of one's own learning. Research has shown that metacognition is a powerful tool for enhancing learning, as it helps individuals to become more aware of their own thought processes and improve their learning strategies. Here are some tips for effective use of metacognition. Monitor understanding. Regularly check in with yourself to monitor your understanding of the material and identify areas that need improvement. Plan strategies. Plan strategies ahead of time to help guide learning and enhance memory. Reflect on learning. Reflect on your own learning process to identify areas that need improvement and to fine-tune your strategies. Seek feedback. Seek feedback from others to help you become more aware of your own thought processes and to improve your learning strategies. For example, if you're studying for an exam, monitor your understanding of the material, plan strategies ahead of time, reflect on your own learning process, and seek feedback from others. This metacognitive strategy helps you become more aware of your own thought processes and improve your learning strategies, leading to better learning outcomes. In conclusion, the field of psychology offers numerous strategies and techniques for improving memory and learning. From utilizing techniques such as chunking, visualization, and metacognition, to understanding the process of memory formation, these tools can greatly enhance your ability to recall information and improve your learning outcomes. By taking an active role in your own learning process, you can unlock the full potential of your memory and enhance your overall learning abilities. So go ahead, put these techniques into practice, and see for yourself the power of psychology in improving memory and learning. If you reached to this stage of the video, I would like to thank you for watching till the end. It also means that you enjoyed the video, so why not subscribing and give us thumbs up? If you have any question or comment, leave them below. Watch other videos on the screen to keep learning.